In this episode, you will listen to one long, warm story. And during the story, you will hear the past perfect continuous many times. I will not explain grammar rules or give lessons. You will simply listen, and by hearing the story, your ear will learn how this tense sounds and where it fits. Now relax and enjoy the day with me. That morning, I woke up before the sun. I had been lying in bed for a long time, turning from side to side, waiting for the alarm to ring. My eyes were heavy because I had been thinking too much during the night, and my head was full of small worries. When the alarm finally rang, I felt almost relieved. I got up slowly and walked to the kitchen. I wanted coffee, but the machine was empty. I remembered that I had been planning to prepare it the night before, but I had been distracted by a phone call. So I made tea instead and looked out of the window. The street outside was still dark and silent, and a cold wind touched the glass. I dressed quickly and left the house. The air outside was fresh, but I was not fully awake. On the way to the bus stop, I met my neighbor. He looked upset. He told me he had been waiting for a taxi for half an hour, but none had come. His voice showed his frustration. I wished him luck and walked on. At the bus stop, I saw many people already standing there. Some of them had been waiting so long that their faces looked tired and impatient. Finally, the bus came, but it was crowded. I had to stand near the door, holding the rail tightly. The traffic was slow. The driver explained that cars had been moving slowly because of an accident ahead. People around me were restless. A student had been reading the same page of his book again and again, unable to focus. A woman had been listening to music, her eyes closed, escaping the noise. An old man had been looking out of the window the entire time, quiet and patient. I stood there holding my bag and wondered how long we had been moving so slowly. When I finally reached the office, I was late. My boss didn't say much, but I knew she had been waiting for me. On my desk, there was a pile of papers. I sighed because I had been postponing these tasks for days, and now I had to finish them quickly. I sat down and started working. Soon I realized that I had been writing emails and reports for almost 2 hours without stopping. My back was stiff and my eyes felt heavy. At lunchtime, I met my friend Sarah in the park. She looked happy. She told me she had passed her exam, and she said she had been studying every evening for weeks before the test. I congratulated her. She laughed and explained that she had been drinking too much coffee during those long nights, but finally it was worth it. We ate sandwiches, and the air was warmer now. People walked past us. Some had been walking their dogs, some had been running, and others had been sitting on benches, enjoying the sun. After lunch, I returned to the office. The afternoon was slow and heavy. My computer was acting strangely because it had been running without a break for days. I restarted it and it worked better. Still, the work felt endless. By the evening, I had been answering calls and writing documents for many hours. I felt drained. On my way home, I stopped at the supermarket. It was crowded. People had been shopping since the afternoon, and many shelves were empty. At the counter, the cashier looked tired. She told me she had been working since early morning and she couldn't wait to go home. I smiled and thanked her, then carried my bags home. At home, I cooked a simple dinner. While cooking, I thought about how often I had been telling myself to eat healthier, so I added more vegetables this time. After eating, I felt a little better. I sat near the window with a cup of tea. The city lights were already shining. Later that evening, Sarah called again. She and some friends were in a small cafe, and they wanted me to join them. At first, I hesitated because I had been working all day and I felt tired. But in the end, I said yes. When I arrived, I saw Sarah laughing with her friends. She told me she had been waiting for me, but she didn't mind because she had been talking with the others. We sat together and shared stories. One friend said he had been working on a project for months and now it was finally finished. Another friend said she had been looking for a new apartment and at last she found one. Someone else explained that he had been trying to fix his old car and finally it started again. Each of us had something to share and we listened with interest. The cafe was warm and full of voices. A child at another table had been crying, but after his mother gave him a biscuit, he became quiet. We stayed for hours, talking and laughing. Sarah said she had been worrying about her exam for weeks, but now she felt light and free. When I left the cafe, the night was quiet. The streets were empty and the rain had stopped. I walked slowly, thinking about the day. From morning until night, I had been moving from one task to another, always busy, often tired, but I had also been collecting moments that made me smile. A conversation, a laugh, a warm drink, a small success. At home, I sat again by the window. I realized that even though I had been complaining about the long hours, this day had given me stories to remember. I smiled, drank the last sip of tea, and felt ready for rest. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you enjoyed the story, if you felt calm or noticed the grammar without effort, you can help me with one small action. A like, a short comment, or a quick subscribe tells me that you want more stories like this. I really appreciate it. See you in the next episode.